pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, one nation, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Holtkamp,
Here.
Gormanson,
Here.
Moody,
Here.
Odine,
Here.
Prendergast, Woolsey.
Here. Okay, next move on to approval of minutes from the April 2nd Planning Commission meeting.
So moved.
Second. Okay, first and second. Any questions or comments on the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next we'll go on to public comments. But so tonight we have two things on the docket. We have the ordinance regarding the annexation and the planned unit development. If anybody has questions or public comments about either one of those, if they want to wait till we get to that point, and then Harley will Harley's going to give us a presentation on each one of those, and that might answer a bunch of your questions. So if you want to wait till after hearing that, then if you still have questions or if you still have comments, you can say them then. Or if you want, you can get up and talk now. It's up to you. So if there's anybody that has public comments, now would be the time to step up. Everybody, when you do public comments, everybody will have 2 minutes. So.
Who was all from Woodridge? My name is Cheryl Hoffman. I am a resident and community member with deep roots in the area. I come before you today not only as an individual, but as a voice for many concerned citizens from the Woodridge Neighborhood Association, who strongly oppose the proposed annexation of land from the town of Troy into the cities. There's a continuity with Powell as a divider between the city and the town of Troy. Annexation is not a mere redrawing of maps. It's a permanent transformation of the land, lifestyle, and legacy of our rural communities. The land in question represents more than acres. It's family farms, open spaces, wildlife corridors, and generations of stewardship. Once it's annexed, it's not just the land that changes, it's the values we stand to lose: rural identity, local control, and environmental responsibility. The residents of Troy have consistently voiced their opposition, yet this process threatens to bypass the will of the very people who will be most affected. Annexation should not be used as a tool to override the town governance or to force urban development into rural areas without consent. These areas are not empty fields waiting to be paved over. They're productive farmland, part of the local farm economy and ecosystems. Has soil testing for contaminations such as carcinogens, toxins been implemented since the plan is to change from ag to residential? Is there a phase 1 environmental site assessment in the plan for long-term environmental impacts of urban expansion here? Once farmland is lost, it's gone forever. Annexation brings infrastructure obligation that taxpayers ultimately fund. We urge you to consider cost and whether the city is truly prepared to absorb these responsibilities long term without burdening current residents. Many of us from the Woodridge neighborhood moved from the city of River Falls due to broken promises, such as the sidewalks to schools. River Falls is known for growing, but not for maintaining what they have. Expanding into rural Troy not only disrupts that, but undermines the idea of cooperative planning between neighbors. Urban sprawl shouldn't be our legacy. Collaborative development should be, and the continuity of Powell and Troy. We ask that any annexation efforts be paused until transparent joint public hearings between River Falls and Troy can be held. Both communities deserve a fair voice in this process, not just the developers or land speculators with short-term interest. In closing, this annex risks sacrificing long-term community identity for short-term gain. We urge this council to lead not with expansionist ambitions, but with partnerships, respect, and sustainability. We ask for a temporary moratorium on annexation until there's environmental safety verification. And thank you for your time.
Anybody else have anything? You can wait, you can ask now, or you can wait till after Harvey. Okay, okay, so we'll move on to that then. Move on to ordinance resolutions. First one is an ordinance regarding the annexation petition from Rolling Hills Development Incorporated for property at Powell Avenue near North Winter Street. PID number is 040-114-130000. An application of a future land use classification of medium density residential and a zoning classification of R2 multifamily, medium density. Residence district to the subject property. And Harvey's up front and he will give us a presentation on this.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And good evening, Mayor and members of the Commission. Harley Melhorn, Senior Planner. There we go. All right. The first item before the Commission tonight is an annexation petition, change in future land use, and proposed rezoning for property located north of Powell Avenue between East and West Woodridge Drive. An annexation petition is a request directly from a landowner to become part of the city of River Falls. The Plan Commission's role in annexations is to provide a recommendation to the Council on the land use and zoning aspects of the proposed annexation, to confirm that the proposed annexation area is contiguous to city boundary, and as well as recommending a zoning classification that is consistent with the comprehensive plan should the area be annexed. The Plan Commission is not reviewing any specific development proposals at this time. If the annexation is approved, those applications would be forthcoming. As aforementioned, a unanimous petition requesting annexation from the town of Troy to the city of River Falls has been submitted by Rolling Hills Development in collaboration with J.P. Brooks and Matt Heeb for one 25.4 acre parcel. Just to confirm, the area on screen highlighted in blue is the limit of this annexation. It does not include any properties addressed off of Woodridge. Further, there is no current intent to annex any of those properties nor foreseen future intent. As a policy, the city only annexes properties that request annexation through petition to the city of River Falls. There will also be no changes in any utility requirements for the residents along Woodridge. City Code lists items that should be considered when an annexation petition is received. Is the location contiguous to city boundary? And is the current or proposed use of the area compatible with adjacent land uses? If the area is annexed to the city, an appropriate zoning district should be applied. In determining which zoning district is most appropriate, we review the comp plan and zoning ordinance as well as evaluating adjacent land uses for compatibility. As for the first consideration, the image on screen illustrates the annexation's abutment to Powell Avenue, the south side of which is City of River Falls right-of-way. Thus, it is contiguous with the City of River Falls. As for the second consideration, as illustrated in the graphic on screen, the proposed site, which is to be annexed as a residentially zoned property, is entirely surrounded by existing residential. The proposed future land use classification is consistent with the current future land use, going from urban area boundary medium density residential to medium density residential within the city. The proposed zoning of R2 is consistent with such a classification. In summary, the proposed annexation area is contiguous with city boundaries. A change in future land use from UAB medium density to medium density within the city is compatible with the surrounding area and will allow for efficient development of the property. A corresponding zoning classification of R2 multiple family residence district would align with these goals as well as the comprehensive plan. And residential uses on the property are anticipated to be compatible with surrounding land uses. Thus, staff recommends forwarding the attached ordinance to City Council with a favorable recommendation. With that, I'll turn it back to you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
So now we'll let anybody that has any comments on this, now would be the time to come on up. And like I said, everybody has 2 minutes, and if as long as it's something new every time, if it's the same thing over and over, then we'll just stop. But so everybody wants to come on up. Otherwise, we'll go to the planning commission on this. Yep.
I'm Joel Pearson, resident of East Woodridge Drive, and you said that there is no future intent to annex or swallow up any of the current residents of Woodridge. When you look at the annexation laws that are on the books, that kind of puts us on the island, and then that just kind of becomes the natural flow. I'd love to take you at your word, but are you willing to put that in writing? That none of us would ever be in the 20 years in the future, we wouldn't be annexed, because there's a great number of us that want nothing to do with this. So that's my question.
Thanks. Anybody else have anything?
Mr. Mayor, I have a couple questions for her.
Yeah, so now we'll go back to the planning commission. Any questions for? It would be great.
Yes, could you give an example of what kind of development might fit in with R2 multiple family medium density, please? Yeah. There you go. Yeah, that's good. Okay, okay, yeah, that's my question. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything?
It's my recollection that if other people wanted to get annexed into the city, they would have to petition the city, and there would have to be somewhat of a majority of people or a certain amount of people within an area that want to come into the city. It's not the city seeking to bring people in, correct?
The comprehensive plan, our utility infrastructure, a number of other future considerations, including budget studies, when considering annexations. And the budget is a big piece too, because we do consider what the cost would be to serve the potential annexation, and we can recommend denial of an annexation just as we can recommend approval.
Another question I have is this we're approving this to send this on to, if we approve this, it's sent on to the council for them to review. So one comment I would like to make is that I looked at this and I said, where else in the city is it similar to this? And I discovered by the high school, and I guess it would be to the west, you've got Centennial Drive, which is in the city, is connected to 975th Street. And it's been that way for years, as I understand. And so I was looking for places where is this out of the ordinary? And from what I can see based on other development, this seems appropriate from historically. So just wanted to see if there was another instance where there was an example of this.
I just have a quick comment. For people that are worried about the city coming trying to take your land, I've been mayor for 13 years. We've never once done that. It's never been our intention to do anything like that. I would love to sign a contract with you that says for 20 years we won't touch you, but there's no way I would ever tie the hands of the mayor or the council or the planning commission after me if anything were to happen. It has never been our intention to do that. All I can say looking forward is it is never my intention to do that to anybody that doesn't want their land brought into the city by them alone, so. I know it's not what you're looking for a contract or anything, but I can guarantee you that that is not in our plans whatsoever, as far as I can see into the future, and leave it at that. So, does anybody else have anything? Just comments now. Yeah. If you have a comment, come on, you sure come up and say it. Sure.
My name is Mary McNamara, and my husband Thomas and I live at 92A West Woodridge. Just, I guess it's a question or a comment. If the land use is not approved for residential development, homes, what then would the land, could the land still go back to agricultural, for agricultural purposes? Or what happens to the land if it doesn't, progress to being approved? Is that?
You want to answer that? I mean, yes.
So should the land not be developed? There's a few avenues that we take. We could revert zoning through an ordinance back to agriculture. That is an example of something the city could do. That being said, getting land in line with our comprehensive plans, and the comprehensive plan designated as agricultural. So this is actually this annexation will be moving the needle towards compliance with our community's vision. And these comp plans are evaluated by the whole community. It's a fairly long process where people are engaging in it. It's thought out very carefully. So we're hesitant to revert the comp plan's guidance when the needle is pushed towards compliance. That being said, if the long-term forecast was for this not to be used at all, or to potentially be farm, that's something we could evaluate, allowing whether it's through some or a temporary erosion zoning. But as of right now, the intent is for this site to be developed in line with our comprehensive plans.
And the process, you said it's a long-range process, or like about approximately what time period are we?
Comprehensive plan, I believe it's required every 10 years statutorily, but it looks out farther than that into the future. So the long-term plan as to what the city anticipates to see as far as growth, both internal and at our boundaries.
So could that land sit for 10 years then, as is now, just not developed, or no?
If no developer came and built it, if for some reason the deal fell through and nobody developed it, potentially, if he doesn't own it, we require a private development partner to do that.
Okay, and it's not, I thought it was private, it's not privately owned right now.
It's privately
Oh,
owned.
okay. And their intent is to develop it with?
That's my understanding. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, you answered my question. Do you want me to sign? Do I sign?
Yes, please.
That'd be great.
Doug Hoffman, I live east 97 East Woodridge Drive. I didn't get a letter, but I live close enough to this. So you said R2, is that single family, apartment? I don't know what R2 means. I'm just a retired slave laborer.
R2 is our multiple family residence district medium density. Now, I want to draw a distinction between development and zoning. All zoning is, it's a bucket of land uses that you are allowed to use, whether it's by right or whether through a special process like a special use permit. So everybody in this room, their property has a zone. That gives you a number of different things you can do, whether it's 50, let's say your parcel could be 50 acres, or it could be all the way to the size of, let's say, a minimum of an acre. Just in that similar vein, R2 sets a ceiling, but not a floor. We could see development, large lot, single family. We could see 2-acre homes on this site through R2, or we could potentially see townhomes or apartments. The current intent with our current private development partner that is petitioning for this annexation, or rather in collaboration with the landowner petitioning for this annexation, is a single family home builder. The intent is to build small to medium lot, single family residential, individually owned by them.
So when my wife wrote down single family, we could end up with apartments and stuff right there. Potentially, you don't know.
The current partner that we have on this, and the current applicant, the current deal that's happening right now is a single-family home builder. Build homes in line with any of the other subdivisions that are coming through the city, Compton Heights, that type of product, maybe a little bit smaller lots.
But R2 is apartments can be put on there, so
They could.
up to 50 units, 100 units, there's no,
There is a cap. So
there's a
12
cap of 8 unit, what did you say? I'm sorry.
12 dwelling units per acre is the hard cap for R2. 12 dwelling units to the acre. The current plan, as we've seen, has approximately 86. But, oh yeah, about 3 units to the acre, which is fairly consistent for most single-family subdivisions. Personal anecdote, I live just north of here, and that's approximately the density of my community. I'm home right here at Old Town Grocery.
I live just north of town myself. All right, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, so we got a first and second on the got a first, no, I don't.
No, you don't.
I'll take a motion on this first.
I'll move to approve the ordinance regarding the annexation petition for Rolling Hills Development.
I'll second it with the caveat that I believe we're voting to send it with a positive recommendation
Yes.
to city council.
Yes.
So I will
On
second it.
on the annexation, yes. Okay. Anybody have any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, let's move on to the council then.
Robert?
He voted nay.
Okay, okay. Next, move on to a resolution regarding the planned unit development specific implementation plan for a 24-unit senior living memory care facility and 8 units of independent living patio townhomes on the blocks bounded by Orange and Sycamore Streets to the east and west, and Broadway and East Foster Street to the north and south. And Harley, you again will have a presentation for us.
Thank you again, Mayor. The next item before you tonight is Sycamore 2 Planned Unit Development Specific Implementation Plan, a request for SIP approval for a new 24-unit senior living memory care facility and 8 units of independent living townhomes. The SIP is the final step in the PUD process and grants final entitlements for the project. The SIP must be substantially conformant to the approved General Development Plan in order to be considered for approval. The GDP, General Development Plan, was approved by Council on April 22nd, 2025. As a reminder, the project is located on the blocks bounded by Broadway Street to the north, Foster Street to the south, and Orange and Sycamore to the east and west, respectively. The proposed development consists of 4 single-story buildings, a 17,000 square foot memory care facility, and 4 2-unit independent living rental villas. Noticeable on the plan is the lack of a label for Charlotte. This is because as a part of the proposed development, Charlotte Street will need to be discontinued in favor of the developer. This specific request is not a part of the action before this commission tonight, but will be acted on by City Council on June 10th. Parking for the memory care facility will be provided on the Charlotte Street alignment, which is the new private drive internal to the site. Parking for the independent living units will be provided by a covered garage for each unit plus a tandem space on the driveway. There are 2 requested deviations as a part of this PUD. A minor deviation to the parking stall depth requirement, going from a required 20 feet to 18 feet. But that being said, this space is actually accommodated in the drive. It's just not striped. As well as a setback reduction on Sycamore, Orange, and Foster, reducing the required setback to 10 feet on all sides, between a 5 to a 15-foot deviation. Staff finds these requests reasonable in exchange for the much-needed niche housing and care units, the public improvements to infrastructure, including the new sidewalk on the north side of Broadway, and the contribution to the future Foster Trail connection. There we go. The proposed architecture features a unified style and use of high-quality finishing materials and architectural embellishments. All proposed buildings are single-story, and staff finds the proposed architecture to be consistent with the quality and style contemplated by code, the comp plan, and matching surrounding character. Per ordinance, a specific implementation plan must be substantially conformant to the approved GDP for a given planned unit development, and must meet all other development and engineering standards of code not otherwise waived during the PUD process. Staff has reviewed the SIP and finds it to be substantially conformant to the approved GDP. The final step for this PUD is for the SIP to go before the City Council on June the 24th. Finding substantial conformance with the GDP, staff recommends the Commission forward the enclosed resolution approving the SIP to City Council with a favorable recommendation. With that, I finish my presentation. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the Commission.
Thank you. Does anybody in the audience has anything about this they want to talk about or mention? Okay, move on to the Planning Commission. First, I'll take a motion on this.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, questions or comments?
Yeah, I've got a quick question. Will this be operated in coordination with Sycamore? Is it Sycamore Place? The Frisbee.
Current.
Yeah.
Yes, Commissioner.
Oh, okay. So it'd be expansion of that operation. Okay.
Yep, non-contiguous expansion.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Is there going to be a sidewalk across Broadway to the side, or a crosswalk on Broadway? Do you know? I mean, it's pretty low traffic, I would imagine. But
I don't believe one is currently contemplated, but we are doing a network-wide analysis of our streets, and we'll continue to do so. So if it's deemed that this becomes a high-traffic crossing point, we could contemplate a stripes crosswalk.
Okay. Anything else? Questions? Okay, got a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next Emily has got a little planning update for us.
Just very briefly, two things. Tomorrow evening here from 6:30 to 8 is an open house with the U.S. Army Corps to talk about the Kinney Corridor project and the potential for a project that would remove the 2 dams on the Kinnickinnic River. In collaboration with that, the National Park Service Rivers, Trails, and Conservation Assistance Program will also be here. They've been doing some work with us on recreation aspects of the Kinney Corridor Plan implementation. So again, that's 6:30 to 8 here in the council chamber, and then there will be an opportunity to interact with staff with more information after the presentations. And then just the second thing to note is we will have a plan commission meeting on July 1st. We have a final plat application from the development for the annexation that was approved in May. That's just east of the one that we considered this evening. And that's for a twin home development there.
Here's a question for you. Is people going to be around that week of July 4th? Because I will be out of town.
Okay.
Not that matters, but
Yep.
I don't know about the rest of the.
Working fireworks till 9 o'clock that
You
night.
know. So we might want to reach out to everybody and
Sure.
make sure we get a quorum.
I guess if I would be deciding when I could just leave, so.
Okay. Sounds good. I will do that. I'll send you all an email.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And
Quick,
that's all.
could I make a motion? Oh, got a quick question about the planning report in the Division Street crosswalks. You're working with UW-Madison on that. Just a little background on that, or how that partnership works?
Yeah, so the city engaged with the University of Wisconsin-Madison about a year and a half ago. They have something called the University Partnership. So university with city partnership. And so we had a number of projects that we worked with them on. And the coordinator of that, knowing that we had just done the comp plan and the bike ped plan, said that they have a traffic safety lab at the university who their job is to work with communities on traffic improvements and traffic safety. So we got connected with them to look at some fairly specific things. One of the things we wanted to look at was the intersection of Cascade and Main, and then other potential improvements that would help us implement the bike ped plan. So a little over a year ago in March of 2024, there was a joint workshop with the Plan Commission and Council. So some of you may have been here for that, where Andy Bill, who's the director of that lab, came and talked to us about transportation safety kind of across all modes. And so we have continued that partnership. And what we're looking at implementing on Division Street is enhanced crossings to Hoffman Park and DeSanctis Park across Division on kind of the east end of the city and the west end of the city to get people from those neighborhoods to the park and back.
And then they'll provide a recommendation, and does that include cost and things like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
they'll help us design what those intersections will look like, or those crosswalks. So it may include bringing the curb out so that the distance that people have to cross from one curb to the next is shortened. It could include the flashing beacons like we have by the library and by the school to alert drivers that people are crossing there. There's a number of different strategies, so we'll be leaning on their expertise for those recommendations.
Okay, thank you. I'll yield to Lisa.
Question, since you brought that up, would that be the group to talk to about, and I only bring this up because it's happened twice in the last month. We're making bike lanes and things for the bikes. Would they be the ones to talk to about putting a bicycle and around and on the sidewalks? So when you're walking out of a store, you don't get just about taken out 2 times. And it's just a thought, if that would be the right group to put that to. But with that, could I offer to adjourn? A motion to adjourn?
Second.
First and second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Well done. Yeah, Diane and I kind of. Yeah. Jinx, 1, 2, 3. You owe me a Coke.